Welcome everyone to the May 24th, 2022 Medfield Board of Selectmen's meeting. This meeting will be held in a hybrid format. The Board of Selectmen will attend in person and members of the public may attend in person. In addition, members of the public who wish to participate via Zoom may do so by joining by one of the following options. If you go onto the town website and pull our agenda up, you'll see the link for joining by Zoom. There's also dial-in information, and there's also a link for the packet, the materials we have for this meeting. This meeting is being video recorded. It will be broadcast on Medfield TV. A couple of points. As we approach Memorial Day weekend, break with our normal tradition of talking or thinking about the service members who are serving around the globe defending our country now, and instead would like you to take a moment to remember those who gave their lives in defense of our country. Thank you. We also want to extend our condolences to Karen Schneider and her children on the untimely loss of her husband and their father last Friday. Sad news, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Okay, the first item we have for discussion is to talk about the Medfield State Hospital Trinity development and vote to potentially vote to call a special town meeting on Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. We just came out of an executive session on that topic, so we've had a chance to talk a bit, but Eileen, I guess we'll start with you on the main, any reactions to the discussion or views on scheduling the town meeting on the 21st?
I support, I'm just going to cut to the chase. I do support holding the meeting on June 21st. I think that if the LDA continues to move with the dialogue that we've been having with Trinity, and it seems to be going in the right direction, it is imperative that we get the support now, knowing that it's one of the criteria for Trinity that they need us to move on this sooner rather than later. And I'll say, this has been going on for quite some time. We've had some sessions with Trinity over the last week for both up at the center of the center. I was going to say the senior center, the center, in the morning and in the evening. I think there's more sessions coming up, Todd, over the next 2 weeks. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to ask questions. But when we look at what the Medfield State Hospital Development Master Plan, if I can use that title, we're driving to what the town was looking for, to maintain the buildings, to keep open space. So even just walking up there and I talk to people, they love the beauty of it. So I think Trinity looks like a really good partner. And I was using an analogy earlier today with somebody. You send out an RFP and you look for a fast car and you get a Volkswagen and you get a Ferrari. In my opinion, I feel like we got the Ferrari with Trinity. I mean, they know what they're doing. They understand how to use tax credits. They have many developments that they've been extremely successful with. So it'd be one thing if we had a partner that we had to question their viability, the complaints that communities receive from them. Everything that we've heard and all the areas that they have developed has been very strong and very good. So they look like a good partner, and it will enable us to keep those structures up there and keep the charm. So I will leave it at that and say I support the 21st. I think it's the right thing to do.
Pete?
I agree as well. I think that we need to keep the process moving. I think that there's been we actually have a proposal from a developer that virtually mirrors what the town said it wanted. And so from that standpoint, we're getting what we wanted. We had a very glaring second proposal that offered us a lot of money, but it was nothing that the town had said that they wanted. If you basically want to tear all the buildings down and get a pocket full of money, you can go a different route. But the town has said that they want this reuse of the existing buildings, and we're getting the number of units we want. The fiscal impacts don't seem at all out of line. We're actually going to make money on it every year as a town. So if you're interested in your property taxes going down, this is a development that will apparently make your property taxes go down, because we're gonna net 500 to 700,000 of extra property taxes a year over the costs of providing services there. to the, whatever happens. And I think it makes sense. We've been talking about the whole process at the Medfield State Hospital for years. The study committee was exceedingly deliberate, came up with the report. We're got a developer who's tracking what we said we wanted. I think it makes sense to go ahead. And we've had a discussion that has gotten us to an agreement on the terms.
And we have the State Hospital Development Committee Chair in the audience, Todd Tarabenko. Todd, before we finish this, any comments?
I would just add that.
You need to use a
Oh, you need the
microphone.
microphone. Or you can do it up there if you want, but I think there's a hand mic somewhere. Bill's.
Yeah, you're good. It's just people at home.
You can cover his monogram.
It's on.
It's for the TV
Bill,
audience.
is that the
Okay.
Medfield TV microphone, or have you bought one for yourself?
Apparently.
Closest I'm going to get to an Olympic torch.
Okay.
So I would just say we've continued to make very good progress with Trinity. We received draft studies that they had promised to us. Those have been distributed to our peer reviewers. We've had a lot of conversations both with Trinity and their experts, and this is all leading to a set of reviewed reports by our experts that will be in hand well before town meeting and will be posted that people will have a chance to read. And Trinity has reiterated just numerous times they're committed to the project. They know there'll be obstacles. They're old buildings. They're going to need a lot of work. But this is the kind of work that they do, and they really want to move forward.
And all the documents are online now, except for the LDA, and that'll get online soon once it gets finalized. So
We're posting as we receive, so people can have the opportunity to review them, and then as we receive our peer reviews, we'll be posting those as well. We're seeking out town departments and committees to get their views on particular issues that fall within their jurisdiction, so that we're doing the best we can to make sure everyone's questions are answered ahead of any vote.
Yep.
Todd, can I ask a quick, just to clarify for anyone who may watch this on YouTube later on, and you make the reference at the peer reviews, what are the peer reviews, to give the citizens insight on that?
Okay, good question. So, for example, the fiscal impact analysis that was prepared by Trinity's consultant, we've engaged our own consultant, a gentleman named Carl Seidman out of MIT, who's well known in the field for fiscal impact on municipalities of development, and so he's representing us. He's working for us to review Trinity's report and provide us with written comments and findings as to the validity of those conclusions.
Great.
Then, with respect to water and sewer and stormwater, the town uses a firm called Environmental Partners, so they've received Trinity's draft reports, and they are reviewing those reports, and they'll provide written comments and an evaluation to the town, and that will be posted. And then the traffic report, which was prepared by VHB on behalf of Trinity, is being reviewed by Beta Group, which the town has used for other traffic projects. So we'll have their peer review, and we'll post that as soon as we get that, we're expecting it by the end of the week.
Great, thank you.
Bill?
Where are they posted?
So the town has a section of the website. Yes.
You might, somebody might mention that, just to make sure.
So the link, it will be on the Medfield Town,
Yeah, there
Medfield
is a link to the
website,
state hospital
committees.
information, and there's a section that relates to Trinity's proposal. So the reports are being added, as sort of a Trinity section of the state hospital website.
I'd add, I think I have the same sense that while we don't have a finalized LDA, I think there's grounds for optimism that we'll be able to do that in enough time for, to have the meeting on the 21st, and to let some people who want to know how soon they're going to be able to get it, they'll be able to have a look at the LDA in advance of the town meeting. Still not sure how many days in advance, because we don't have the agreement, but I anticipate that'll be available soon. And meanwhile, what I think is probably the more important information is what, Todd, you're talking about, is the documents and the analyses and things like that. For the one thing for anybody out there that's kind of not sure where to start on this, I would highly recommend that you watch for Brandy Erb's and Lucille Fisher's information. They've been putting out information messages on at least a weekly basis. I've been actually very impressed at how they've been able to anticipate or recognize what some of the most important frequently asked questions are. So you may want to dig deeper in the town website and go to the development committee's page and dig through all the source documents. But To start, if you keep your eyes out for Brandy and Lucille's message, they've been a great help, I think, to the Development Committee's efforts to help educate people along the way. And that's going to continue between now and the town meeting, so.
And on the LDA, which is the Land Disposition Agreement, so that's the contract, basically, the purchase and sale agreement that we all had on our homes. There's agreement, basically, on that. It's just a question of the attorneys working out the terms that have been agreed to. So I think we're very close to having that to share with everybody.
So with that, you can get a motion.
I would move that we vote to call a special town meeting on Tuesday, June 21, 2022, for purposes of dealing with the Medfield State Hospital development.
Second that?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So move ahead.
I would recommend, a couple of things I just want to mention. I would recommend that we invite Scott to our next meeting to just talk about the format of that meeting and the
Okay.
timing of that. And then I would also like you to think about, not that I think we're going to have an issue with the size of this project or the scope of this project, but I would like to consider reducing quorum for this meeting under the COVID regulations so that we don't run into an issue that we just had. I don't anticipate we will, but
Better be safe than sorry.
there's a lot of money that goes into putting on, especially if we're going to do a hybrid indoor and outdoor meeting. So
Is that
You
the
have
plan to
this-
do a hybrid?
I think so. I don't
Okay.
want to speak for the moderator. He and I are still in discussions of the best way to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but obviously that's his call on how he wants to run that.
So the hybridization is the indoor-outdoor. You can't do
Right.
both.
Right. Do you have a target for that reduction?
So the legislation allows you to reduce it. It goes down to 25.
I don't think we should do that.
So I think we can.
This is
change that.
this is a really important decision for the town. I understand why we might want to reduce it a little bit toward the end of June, but I think we want to do that. If we do reduce it, we want it at a level where nobody's going to think a very small group of people just ramrodded something through. We kind of need to know that the town cares. We've spent 8 years since we bought this trying to find out what the town cared about. I think the Master Planning Committee did its level best to capture that and incorporate it into this concept. And with the Development Committee, it was a pleasant surprise to me, at least, to hear from the market that the developers actually thought that what we had in our master plan was in fact feasible. And we now have a developer that's come back with I think, a pretty good effort at trying to give us an option that's in line with what we asked for. Doesn't look exactly what was in the master plan, but nobody thought it would look exactly like the master plan. And
It's pretty darn close.
they have a sense that from everything we've seen so far, I think this is a developer that is committed to these kinds of projects and is committed to working with a town like ours. So if we have a shot at turning this into the thing that people said they wanted, I think this is our best shot to do it.
Fully agree.
So there's a process for the quorum reduction, which means we need to advertise it 7 days before the next selectmen's meeting to have that discussion. So we'll start posting that tomorrow to let people know that we are thinking of doing that.
Okay.
And then
Yep.
we can have that discussion on
Okay.
June 7th.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Next item, vote to sign the agreement with the Cambridge Public Health Commission for federal public health emergency preparedness funds.
This was a grant that our public health nurse, Brenda Healy, applied for, and this is iPads for the Board of Health that they'll use during their vaccine disbursement.
Any questions or comments, Eileen?
No, I read through it. It makes sense. We're getting grant money, yes? Is that
You were getting the money to purchase the iPads,
Yeah.
just under $1,000.
crazy not to?
Any questions, Pete?
No, I was just fascinated that we were partnering with the Cambridge Public Health Commission, but then as you read through it, you discovered it was two iPads.
All right.
It was a little less than it sounded like at first, but
So it's all going to be left to me to have the questions on this contract.
Yes.
First off,
we
I
count
wanted-
on you for that, guy.
So first off, I noted that it is a 1-month contract. It expires on June 30th, 2022. I wanted to make sure that wasn't a typo.
That's
No,
probably
we have to-
your money.
Yes, we
Yeah.
have to purchase them immediately.
Okay. The second question I had is when we buy these two iPads, does this equipment go to is it the public health nurse who actually owns them when we acquire them?
The town will own them, but they will be based in the public health department.
Public health department. There's another piece of this down in section 2, fourth paragraph. To be eligible to receive funding, the contractor must be compliant in completing at least 75%, 3 out of 4, quarterly drills, and in attending at least 50% of the regional 4AB PHEP coalition meetings. And my question is, have we been doing that?
Yes.
So we are compliant.
Yeah.
Wow. They must be quiet drills, because I haven't heard any noise. And then there were some issues around reporting, which I imagine is administratively simple, but then there's a one-sentence paragraph, a midpoint progress and end of contract final review will be conducted by the CHA. It's only a 1-month contract. So what I'm reading this as is that this is a contract for equipment, but it also seems to have provisions for time charging. So it seemed a very strange contract form for something that's less than $1,000 grant for equipment. My real question is, in signing this contract that has all these other things in it, are we obligating ourselves to do anything other than simply buy 2 iPads with requisite software?
Buying 2 iPads, and then Brenda will provide a final report that the iPads were purchased, and then update everyone on the
Okay.
vaccine clinics that she runs.
Then administratively, the question was, who's the authorized who would we be approving to sign this contract?
I think you should authorize me to do it.
Okay, and then you need to be notified, it has to be notarized, so when you do
Yes.
it, you're gonna have to be witness. Okay, those are my only questions.
There you go.
And if Marion is watching, I'll be down in your office tomorrow morning.
All right,
And I
very
believe she
good.
is.
Then I
This,
guess.
by the way, reminded me that I went to an MMA annual meeting and won an iPad. And they said to me, as they handed it to me, this is for municipal use. And I said, oh, okay. And so I gave it to Youth Outreach, and they used it with the kids. As much as I wanted an iPad.
You didn't.
That was the closest I ever came. I had one for a couple days.
You didn't ask them which games were authorized as municipal games?
Yeah, I didn't even, I didn't even turn it on, Gus.
Like, that Age of Empires thing you're building, I bet you that would qualify.
So, well, this gets into another story. When I got my computers, I assumed, because I had loved playing pinball so much when I was young, I assumed that I would spend all my time playing games on my computer. And then I quickly discovered that, they were there, but I didn't spend my life playing them, so.
Because Pete, when he was younger, was a pinball wizard.
I was good.
All right, I bet you were. We'll take a motion.
Vote to sign agreement with the Cambridge Public Health Commission for federal public health emergency preparedness funds.
And I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. That's done. Next is a vote to sign a contract with Equipment East for a new sidewalk tractor. Well, we didn't carry it as, it's called a multi-hog, which,
There's quite a
Sounds
few
like-
attachments on this baby.
yeah, I know, it's got a lot of things that
Does
go
everything,
on.
apparently.
I'm assuming all the motorcycle riders out there will be happy to know that the DPW is getting a multi-hog.
I just could not type that on the agenda.
That's why I had to bring it up so clearly. A $179,000 purchase from the state equipment list. I did check the capital approval for FY '22 was $180,000, so that's covered. Any comments?
No, I have faith in the team that selected this. There's quite a few attachments. We've got all sorts of warranties, so.
Pressed with a double auger snow blower.
And there's some serious attachments
There's
on this
stuff here.
baby.
Yep. What you get when you buy a multi-hog. Okay, Pete, comments?
No.
I have no comments. Can I get a motion?
Move to sign contract with Equipment East for the new sidewalk multi-hog tractor.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Opposed? That one passes. Next, vote to accept the resignation of Greg Sandomerski from the Medfield Affordable Housing Trust effective July 31st, 2022. And I think we all saw the letter. It kind of sounds like he genuinely regretted that he needs to do that, but it's moving, so.
He was a fellow attorney and a good member of the Affordable Housing Trust. So it's with regrets that we would accept his resignation.
That counts, I think that counts as a motion.
Yes, I'll second that.
All those in
That is
favor?
perfect.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. What happens if we oppose? No.
I think he'd still move.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was thinking. And I think you said the solar energy contracts are deferred.
Yes, we'll hold that till the next meeting.
Okay. Citizen comment? Bill, it's all yours if you want to take it.
Anybody raising their hand out here?
Nope, none. Next, consent agenda. Have two items on it. One is the Zealous Beer Garden series of one-day beer wine permits for Meeting House Park from 12 to 8:30 on Saturday, June 11th. These are all Saturdays, so June 11th,
There's one Sunday in there.
oh yeah, sorry, Saturday, June 11th, Saturday, June 25th, Saturday, July 16th, Saturday, August 6th, Saturday, August 13th, Sunday, August 27th, Saturday, September 3rd. Any comments on that one?
No, but it draws me to think back to a couple of meetings ago. We had the gentleman in for the rib group that
Yep.
was supposed to be up at the State Hospital. Have they been up there? I haven't
As
seen
Zealous,
Is that
Oh, up-
right?
oh, up at the State
If you-
Hospital?
It was-
Saturday, the next one will be the 20th and the 27th.
Did we ever, did he come back and get confirmed, or?
No, I will follow up with him tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I support this, but I was thinking when I was
Yeah.
reading this, I'm like, hey, didn't we have a gentleman come in and ask
Yeah, I'm
about
just
doing the
looking.
State
Nope,
Hospital?
I will check in.
Okay.
and I only had two questions, just, you may not know, it doesn't matter, we can
Yeah,
still approve it,
it's
but I was
27th.
wondering, I know that in the past, they've asked for music, and so I wasn't, it doesn't sound like they're planning to have music up there
I'm guessing
or
it's
for these.
Saturday.
I don't think so, but when they had to do that prior, it was under COVID regulations. They had to make sure they had special approval
Okay.
for that. So
Okay.
I don't know if they're gonna have any live music, but I can check with Jeff. I also, Pete reached out to me today regarding some concerns, that they were not providing enough recycling containers. So I sent an email to him this afternoon that, this approval will be pending having additional recycling available on site.
And then no rain dates, these are
Nope.
either it's Saturday or the one Sunday, or we're not doing it. Okay,
And if they want to have any music, do they have to have a license? Like, just if they had somebody's Pandora
Usually they
playing?
let us, no.
So if it's a live band?
A live band, we've asked that they let us know.
Okay.
okay. And then the second item was the Council on Aging requests permission for a one-day beer wine permit for the following monthly events: Wednesday, June 8th for a men's night, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m., and Wednesday, June 22nd for our first summer cookout, 4:30 to 7 p.m. So do we have a motion to?
Mr. Chairman, while you were conferring down at your end of the table, we were conferring down here, and we think that August 27 for the Zealous Beer Garden is a Saturday. Just to
It's a
make
typo?
that note.
So I was right to start with.
Unless he wanted a Sunday, I don't know how that happened or what.
I would tend to approve, I
I would
would
go with,
go with
I'll
the date.
I'll let them pick one.
Yeah, it is a Saturday.
It's a Saturday?
Yeah.
So we're approving the
Definitely a
dates.
Saturday, but it's typed in as Sunday, so whether he intended it to be a Sunday or it's just a,
I'm thinking Saturday.
Is
Yeah,
that
ours-
Labor Day weekend?
Let's approve it for Saturday, and if we get it
Let-
wrong,
we'll
you'll come
appro-
back and
we'll
let us
appro- Yeah,
know.
we'll approve the
That's
dates,
the most likely.
the actual
Labor Day's the
dates.
5th.
Okay, so it's not, okay, we'll approve the dates, and if that's wrong,
Okay.
then you can come back and we can always correct it.
I would move the consent agenda with that change.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's approved. Next is meeting minutes. Brittany's already gone, so she won't hear this. So I'll take the only one, I think April 7th is the only one that
I'm good. I approved that earlier.
you already approved it? Okay, you already approved it? April 7th?
I
2020?
know, I've
Yeah, you.
done
you're
edits
just
to
like
all of them, so
You're an
I'm up to
overage.
date.
Okay, okay. For the third week in
that
a
was the
row,
school
we're gonna
building
rub in the
committee.
fact that I still have some I haven't gotten to. Okay, so the one that we can approve, all three of us, is April 7th, 2022.
so moved.
So moved.
So moved, yes.
All those in favor?
Agreed.
Aye.
Yes.
So that one's approved. And then there are four that I'm ready to approve, that you've already done like weeks ago, but I haven't gotten to them all.
Okay.
The four are March 8th, 2022, which I had very minor typo corrections, but they were not substantive. April 6th, 2021, which is the first one on the list. The only question I had, it's fine, the only question I had is, in that meeting, did we actually approve a specific amount for the sticker fee increase? The minutes don't reflect the increase in the sticker fee, and they probably should. And I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have improved the increase without specifying it.
I have to
So,
go back and look. I can't
so
remember off the top of my
that's
head.
the one issue on that
Okay.
one is if we did in fact talk about exactly how much, that should be inserted in there. But other than that, those are fine. July 13th, 2021, It was fine. The only thing is that at the end, it looked like some of the reference documents were missing because the note was there. And then August 3rd, 2021 was fine just as is. So the ones that you and I are approving, Pete, are April 6th, 2021, July 13th, 2021, August 3rd, 2021, and March 8th, 2022. And I have 5 in the middle that I still have to get done.
Okay, I thought March 1 is not part of it yet?
No.
Okay, all right.
Oh, the reason it isn't is I opened that one up to try to work my way backwards, and that's the intersection one, and it took me like an
Oh.
hour to do it the first time, and I
Yep.
assumed
Yeah.
it wasn't a 10-minute review, so
Yeah.
perhaps it is, but I just
Well,
saw
I'll
that.
move that we approve those 4 sets of minutes that you just referenced.
And I will second, and assume you're going to
will
abstain.
abstain,
So all those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Opposed? Okay, so those all are approved. And the ones that are still missed, the ones that I am still delinquent on are August 17th, 2021 through March 1st, 2022. And I should be able to knock those off by our next meeting, plus whatever else Brittany sends us. Okay, town administrator update.
Just a reminder, the Memorial Day Parade is returning this year. It'll leave from Janes Avenue at 9:45 and continue to Baxter Park for the ceremony at 10 a.m. If it is raining, it will be moved to the Dale Street School.
Okay. And next meeting dates, we're going to be meeting on the 7th of June, which is 2 weeks from now. And then again on the 21st of June, which right now is lining up as a
Special town meeting.
special town meeting night, so I'm assuming that'll be an early start for that one.
Yes, let me talk to Scott. We had talked about, Scott and I are gonna have a conference tomorrow. Once you called the meeting, then we'd start talking about time and
Yep.
all of that. So I'll get back to you on the time, but it'd be in the early evening. And then I would anticipate with the special town meeting coming on the 21st, you'll probably have a few more meetings between the 7th and
That's
the
what I thought.
21st.
Yes, okay.
Wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Selectmen reports. Let's start with Eileen.
Alrighty, so I had a chance to attend both of the Trinity meetings, so I went and sat in with the seniors that morning, and then went for the broader audience that night. I thought it was actually really well attended, both sessions. And then the next evening, I had a chance to go to the Tomcat meeting, which again, really educational. I think that's going to be such a it's a monumental task that this group is asking to reach in terms of trying to be have all the homes renewable energy by 2030. But I applaud the effort that they're putting forth and how much education and information they're trying to put out there. It's just going to be a matter of continuing to bring people aware, and whether whether that date has to shift out a little, so be it. But I think what they're striving to do, and all of the unbelievably talented people across the board. So if people have questions and they're looking for resources, the people on that group are pretty knowledgeable and are certainly eager to share their knowledge. And then I actually had a chance to attend the Hinckley Helpers event, which was outstanding. They had unbelievable turnout. When I walked up with Rooney at around, I want to say 1 in the afternoon, the entire parking lot was packed and they had cars out in the street. So really good attendance, really charming. They had a little story that wrapped you all the way around the property. So you started at 1 and you read it all the way. And it was about a little girl that wanted to build a park. So it was really sweet. So again, really happy for the whole group of Hinckley Helpers for the time and energy they put behind that. And then I just had a chance to stop by and connect with Roberta. I hadn't had a chance to talk with Roberta since before the election. So I was leaving Kingsbury Club a week ago Wednesday and had a chance to poke in, and it was great to just catch up with her. And I think she was in Vegas, so I'm dying to find out. Hopefully she had a good trip and everything went well. Good quality R&R for her. Long overdue. And so, yeah, that is what I've been up to. And I was curious about the Memorial Day Parade. So that's, are we all three attending that one, or should we wear our baseball hats for that?
I didn't bring them, but I can if you want me to. I think
That- that would-
usually Eileen DeSorga has the poppies that she sent.
Ah,
So
okay.
We may see poppies there, but.
Oh, good, okay.
I forgot that, they're in the living room is what it is, so as I'm rushing out, I never see them, they're right there by
I'm
the
just trying to
door.
give you some airtime with
Yeah,
those, right?
yeah. Well, for sure, I'm gonna give them to you, because I don't wanna run the risk that you don't have them for next year. For sure, so, all right,
I think that is, those are my events.
Pete?
The Energy Committee met, and then their main focus has been the Climate Action Plan. And as Eileen said, the forum for the TOMCAP, the Town of Medfield Climate Action Plan, was held, and I agree with you, absolutely. The people on that group are just so knowledgeable. They just knock my socks off with the amount that they know about how energy is done and what we need to do to get to a net zero. Again, as Eileen said, we've been involved with Trinity on an ongoing basis. I too got to swing by the Hinckley Helpers event and was impressed with what they've done or did that day. Last night, the Medfield Foundation Legacy Fund had a meeting, and so that was a sort of a follow-up on the 20th anniversary event that was held. And then I had a resident reach out to me today about traffic issues and wanting to have some sort of, have the town study traffic issues more for the town. And so I'll just pass that along to everyone. I think that is not a bad idea that we look into that. And maybe Chris can suggest, or Nick can suggest some ways that would be the appropriate way for us to do that, to make our town safer for our residents. Lastly, Rich Mastronardi, who's the involved with the Unitarian Universalist First Parish Meeting House, reached out to me, and they have a pre-ratification copy of the United States Constitution, and they're looking to exhibit it, and they were thinking that maybe that the town would be interested in exhibiting it at the townhouse or somewhere. So this is a copy. It's a little bound pamphlet that's 4 by 7 inches, and apparently in those days they used to bind them in newspaper with string, and it's from May of 1787. So this was somebody from Massachusetts, from Medfield apparently, who went to the convention to consider what the United States Constitution should be, and this was like their workbook, is my understanding of what it is. 32 pages. Apparently one of the ministers from the church was a delegate to that assembly, so it may be something that came down through him. And they've got some other historical things that they thought that it might be interesting for the residents of the town to see displayed. And so that I was just asked to bring it up and see if there was any interest in trying to have a discussion with them, if there was any interest on the Board of Selectmen in having this sort of a discussion and how that could then work out. So.
I would think we'd be probably interested in the recommendation of the Medfield Historical Commission on that. See what they think is practical and would be effective.
Oh, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I can tell you that David Temple was one of the people on the email to me, so I'm sure the Medfield Historical Society is well aware of their reaching out to us and suggesting that this is something. So I gather that the Medfield Historical Society is probably involved in this in some way or other. I know that, and a lot
This
of,
isn't like climate-controlled kind of stuff like they do at the Library of Congress or anything?
I
for
would,
the-
yeah, I'm amazed, like, I would think, my biggest thing is, when I'm hearing this, is I'm like, okay, how do we protect this thing? I mean, I gotta believe there's gotta be an insurance policy or something that, God forbid somebody walks with that, that's a,
yeah, I don't know, that was one of the things that I said to them, you know, if you want
It's
to,
also typically very acidic, it's probably breaking down as we speak.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's not a political statement you're making, you're talking about the physical.
The paper,
Yeah, you sneeze on it, it could break. It'd be interesting if they could do like something like a YouTube or whatever to educate people about it, and then figure out, could they have a time where, you know, whether, like, it's funny, I had a friend of mine in my neighborhood ask me about the tour that they used to do for the little kids in town. They'd get on a bike and they'd go to all the homes, right? So wouldn't it be interesting just for that that grade group to be able to be exposed to something like that. But if there's a YouTube, like, I just think like the last thing you'd want is, here's this treasured document, and God forbid it gets destroyed, because, to have it staged here at the town hall, I don't know how you'd guarantee that it's protected, right? So how
Yeah,
do we?
that's one of the issues that I raised with them,
Yeah.
that the town hall really isn't secure.
Right.
But, they still were interested in talking, so.
Yeah,
Just probably, to me, it seems like the first place might be a recommendation from the Historical Commission on what they think would work and, how, because part of it is too, you also, if you do that, I assume you want a place that people gather. I mean, we could probably turn Christine's office into a sort of a mini
Yeah,
museum
museum.
of, and people could come up and visit her all day long.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's not really a good, there's, what I'm getting at is they're visiting the town hall, there's no exhibit room or something like that.
right.
I know, I think the
Library,
library.
yeah.
The library would make so much,
neat.
yeah.
And then Pete and I had talked about this, that maybe the library would be they have more foot traffic than
Yeah,
we do, so you
yeah.
might.
Somebody may consider digitizing it, that's what's happening with, we've got an ancient document in Medfield,
Mhm.
in Medway, the history that was done in the 1800s, and they're proposing to digitize that.
Yeah, they actually have done that. That discussion happened a couple of years ago, and there was an issue, because a lot of the documents were with the Medfield Historical Society, but they actually belonged to the church. And the church was looking to digitize them, and they have digitized them. There's some group in Boston that maybe is part of the Unitarian or the Congregational Church, I think it was, that was actually seeking the documents to digitize them, which makes absolute sense. And so that a lot of the stuff has been digitized already.
Okay.
But I'll just let them know that.
Okay, yeah.
Can I throw one more in there I forgot to tell you about,
Sure.
which I thought was fun?
Sure.
Was the Touch-A-Truck that the New in Town hosted. They actually had that. I was walking through town on Saturday, and considering how warm it was getting, they had a great turnout at the parking lot there. And made me think of it, because I know Penny had her her electric car there.
Oh,
So, really fun event. And again, seeing all the young families and all the little kids getting hoisted up in the rig, and it was good.
It's gonna be even better next year, because they're gonna be able to touch a multi-hog.
It is
Sure,
that
more.
comment.
Okay, so we've been going in parallel paths here a bit. Tom Cap, there were actually two things. I think at least you and I had direct interviews with the Tom Cap to give our feedback on the Climate Action Plan draft, and I actually have
Oh,
hard
good, thank you.
copies. This is now actually available electronically with our meeting packet for tonight. But
Okay.
at first, this afternoon, I didn't see it there, so I printed it all out. This is in true fashion for how I do things. I took several hours to go through this thing in depth. So there's a combination of substantive issues that I've raised, but also editorial things. So you'll see a lot of markups, but actually some parts of it are just repetitive editorial, editing changes.
Okay.
I also signed in, and what you'll see is I printed this out. Most of them come out well, where you can see the
Probably
comments.
just a little bit over here.
There's a couple of pages where if the columns were all full, then the comments bled off to the right, but it's available electronically, so you
Okay.
can see enough there to get a sense of what it's all there, and then it might be that you want to, if there's anything you can't see there, just call it up electronically. I also tuned in, I didn't get to watch the whole public forum, but I did tune in. I was one of the people on Zoom I missed the first 10 minutes, and I made it to about the 45 or 50-minute mark, and then I had to drop off. So at least I got a sense of what the conversations were all about. And so it was nice. I think it's good to have it be vetted that way with the public and get people to see what it's all about and provide feedback. So it's never a mistake to involve the public in being able to look at the stuff you're doing and provide you with feedback. And so that's a good thing. I went to the Trinity session last week. I got there a little late because I had a client thing that went till 7, but I thought that was a good session. I heard that the one earlier in the day, which I think you were at, was a little feistier maybe. But the one in the evening, I thought the audience asked good questions. The tone of that meeting I thought was really good. I thought Trinity did a great job of both presenting what they presented, but also handling the questions that came along. I think I would hope that the people there that saw them would see, I think what I've seen is that there was one thing that I think Abby commented on. She said, well, you know, one thing about us, we love buildings like this, and I actually believed her. So it was, I think, to the extent you can have comfort with a partner like that at a very early stage in a process. I've liked the tone of the interactions we've had with them, so I'm optimistic that as difficult as some issues could be, that we're probably going to, we stand a good chance of getting to a good spot with them if we can move ahead with it. The other thing I didn't mention, I don't think maybe I'm trying to remember whether it was before or after the last meeting, but I'm now the new designated representative for Medfield on the Norfolk County Advisory Board. The county's always been a black hole to me. It's kind of like this amorphous, inconsequential, nearly inconsequential entity that doesn't do much other than run courthouses, I guess. I actually was impressed. The people that are there in that group, some of whom have been on that advisory board for decades. They tend to be coming from, select boards of selectmen, but I don't think they all are. A very thoughtful group. The biggest issue that was on the table for anyone who's been following it has to do with what they're doing around the Registry of Deeds and the information system supporting the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. For me, that was a difficult issue because I think that the registry has done a really good job, and it's very clear that they're proud of what they have by way of systems. The other side of the argument is the need, I guess, to upgrade technology. And so what's happening is the county's putting an IT department together. And because they're doing that, they're taking at least a greater degree of management control over the IT resources. And that's a point of contention between the Register of Deeds in Norfolk County and the county commissioners. My first meeting, I listened to both sides. I'm certainly sensitive to and even sympathetic to what the Register of Deeds has had to say about this issue over the months because he's been putting out emails. But I also saw a lot of thoughtfulness on the part of other people. Bottom line is they voted to consolidate. So I don't know what that actually means because they committed to keeping the staff available to support the Registry of Deeds. But it sounds like they were trying to figure out some way to upgrade the technology and move it on up. And I don't know how that'll play out. I felt a little bad personally that I'm sympathetic to what the Register of Deeds is trying to do. I abstained from the vote. I wasn't going to disapprove or approve. So on this first time, I took the coward's way out and abstained through the...
It's interesting because the Norfolk Registry of Deeds actually has a different technology solution than the rest of the state.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go on the rest of the state, it's run by the Secretary of the Commonwealth, and it's well, I think most registries, like Plymouth, might have their own, or some.
I think
bumped into
most of them
some other
do.
ones that had sort of mongrel systems like the.
Right.
But Norfolk by far is the best. If you talk to
I think
anyone
it
who's
is, yeah.
into the real estate business and tracking down deeds and doing closings,
Right.
that you can
The
walk
Norfolk
in there
County.
and you get it done in one day. If you go to other ones, you can be delayed for weeks and for months. And now look at what's going on with
No.
mortgage rates. You don't want to see that happen to a client.
Their online system is just, it's
Right.
different than everybody else in
Right.
the state, and
Right.
I prefer the one for the rest of the state.
One of the things that's interesting that did come out on all that, it's been a moneymaker, the way they collect fees, but the fee revenue has been going down because what's happening is that everybody's online. So instead of literally carrying documents to the Register of Deeds to have them recorded, everything's being done electronically. A lot of the transactions where banks might originally have needed like a certified copy of something, they're accepting stuff online. And when people can do that online, they're not paying the fees in all cases. So there's a bit of a revenue challenge. They're still collecting revenue, but it's not the same. Bottom line, I expect that I will do my best to make those meetings. I came away thinking that it's probably in the town's interest for us to have a better sense of what's going on at county level. And maybe ultimately, once I get to know people, it probably isn't a bad idea to actually even know people that are other towns through the connections that occur there, so. And that was it.
By the way, most of the counties in the state do not run the courts. I think that Norfolk does actually still
Well,
run the court.
most of the counties have been dissolved. Norfolk's one of the exceptions.
Right. So, anyway, it was a good experience. I came away impressed with what I saw and intrigued by what I might be able to learn over the coming years by going to the advisory board meetings. So that's it. Information, nothing special. Xfinity notice, Eversource community scorecard. Anybody have anything else? And I think if I can get a motion to adjourn, we're done.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I didn't hear any opposition. Hope everyone has a good night and enjoys Memorial Day weekend coming up here.
Stay safe.
Come on out to the parade.